Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
So, I am speaking with Cardinal Dolan, former Cardinal Dolan. Would you tell me, honey, about your boyhood? What was it like growing up? Seriously.
Sure. Well, some people, Cindy, don't think I've ever grown up. But anyway, I guess I did grow up. And by the way, I'm still a Cardinal Timothy Dolan, and my friends like you can call me Timothy. But I'm still a cardinal, even though I'm no longer Archbishop of New York. I'm still a cardinal. I'm still a bishop. I'm still a priest, and I'm still a happy New Yorker. And I'm a friend of great people like yourself. Growing up. Okay, I often say, Cindy Adams, that the greatest natural blessing anybody can have is to grow up in a loving, embracing, happy family, and I had that. Now, I would believe the greatest supernatural blessing is a gift of faith, but the greatest natural blessing is to grow up in a happy, wholesome, embracing family, and I did. My mom and dad, Shirley and Bob, were as loving as could be. I can remember, Cindy, you know my dad dropped dead at 50 from a heart attack, and my mom was only 47, and I can remember standing at the casket, and more than one person would come up and say, "Your mom and dad were still like two teenagers in love," and they were. I was the oldest of five, and we grew up in a happy town called Baldwin, Missouri, which was now it's the heart of the suburbs of St. Louis. Back then, it was kind of still had a Mayberry type atmosphere. It was still kind of a little town, and the heart of the heart of the family for me was the neighborhood and the parish, the Catholic parish, Holy Infant Parish in Baldwin, Missouri. I went to school there. I played sports there. I had my friends there. My mom and dad went to dances and dinners there. We obviously went to Mass and participated in all the religious life that was important to us. That was kind of the center of my life. And a blessing I had was that it was a block away. It was a block away from my house. The disadvantage maybe was that I'm the one that got called all the time to serve the 6 a.m. Mass. That was the first Mass in the morning. And they get many times Timmy Dolan would be asked to serve because I was only a block away. I sometimes think I had my pajamas on under the stuff that the altar boys put on. But I grew up in love with the priests, with the nuns, with the sisters, with the people, with the neighbors. I guess it was normal. I sure loved sports. I sure loved my buddies. I sure was happy to be the oldest of two brothers and two sisters. I had girlfriends. I had fun. I guess I got into a little trouble now and again. But in general, Cindy Adams, it was a wholesome, happy childhood. I got to be honest, as I think back, not everybody shared that bliss that I did, and we didn't. I mean, it wasn't always happy. What I can remember growing up, my dad on 3 different occasions losing his job, and that was very difficult for us. And my mom and dad tried to keep it from us, but it was a tough time. I can remember we would always have our supper together, but then I can remember on a couple occasions, Mom and Dad would say, "You kids go ahead and eat. Your mom and I will eat a little later." And I don't think they ate because my dad was looking for work back then. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And my dad, oh my, you knew my mom. You had met my mom. She'll be dead 4 years on March 12th. My dad, as I said, died when he was 50. And my dad was kind of a neighborhood gatherer. We lived at the last house on the block, and we had a nice backyard and a patio. And everybody would come on Saturdays and Sundays. They'd drink beer. We'd grill hamburgers and hot dogs. We'd play ball in the side yard. I don't want to, like it's the cover of the Saturday Evening Post. It had its share of ups and downs, but in general, I wouldn't trade it for anything. So that was it. High school came. I went to the seminary right after 8th grade, Cindy. Yeah. I kind of thought, I think I might want to be a priest. I didn't live there. I came and went to home. It was a preparatory high school to prepare guys who might have a vocation in the priesthood, great education. And then after that, I went right into the college seminary, and my last 4 years before I became a priest were over in Rome. But until I was 22, I was happy as the oldest son of Bob and Shirley Dolan.
Do you remember the day they made you an archbishop?
Yeah, well, my dad was gone by then, but when I was made Archbishop of Milwaukee, remember I was made Archbishop of Milwaukee, I had 7 happy years there before coming to New York 17 years ago, and I called my mom, and I said, Mom, they want me to be Archbishop of Milwaukee. And she said, well, honey, congratulations. That's going to be good. I know you got it in you. I said, Mom, I'm kind of nervous. This is a big diocese. It's got its problems. Milwaukee does. And she said, well, what are you worried about? You didn't ask to go there. They asked you to go. They must see in you the talents that you got, and so go and do the best that you can. And I remember the same thing. I remember the same thing 7 years later in 2009 when I got the call that Pope Benedict wanted me to be Archbishop of New York, and I said the same thing to the nuncio, the Pope's ambassador to the United States, who called me with the appointment. I said, look, thanks. Tell the Holy Father I'm grateful, but I'm happy in Milwaukee. I don't think I'll do a good job. I think there's other guys who could do it better. And the nuncio said, yeah, we know all that, but I'm not asking you that. The Pope wants you to go to New York, yes or no. So I said, well, if he has that trust in me, I'll go. And Cindy Adams, I'm glad I did. It's been 17 great years, and I'm glad you've been a part of it.
Listen, tell me your first day walking into St. Patrick's.
Well, you might remember, and we had. So when I got here in February of 2009. So I had 7:30 Mass at the altar at St. Patrick's. It wasn't a Sunday. It was just an ordinary day. My predecessor was a man named Cardinal Edward Egan, and he said, let's go over and say Mass, and the press will be there afterwards. And so I went out, said the prayer of the Mass with him, and afterwards we met the press. And I can remember being very, very much at ease. I wasn't nervous. Now, I had heard a lot of kind of troubling things about New York. I had heard that they were haughty. I heard that they were unfriendly. I heard that they didn't like people from the Midwest. I heard that the press and the journalists were particularly rambunctious and could be offensive. They were as welcoming and warm as ever. And they were, and I remember meeting them afterwards. I remember one asked me a question, and I said, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, but give Joe Zwilling your number, and I'll get the answer and call you back. And she said afterwards, she said, oh, how nice of you. Nobody's ever done that before. And sure enough, I called her back a couple hours later and said, I do have the answer to that now. Here it is. But I thought, wow, you kind of learn like anybody else in life. If you treat them with friendship and respect, they'll
Joe Zwilling told me he had originally wanted to be a priest himself.
Yes, Joe Zwilling was, and you know that he married the sister of a priest. Father Charlie Bava was a priest of the Archdiocese of New York, and he married the sister of a priest, but he's an extraordinarily committed lay Catholic who has been in this job as communications director for the Archdiocese. So how many archbishops? He was with Cardinal Cook, your buddy Cardinal O'Connor. He was with Cardinal Egan.
I loved him. I did not love Cardinal Egan. He wasn't warm. He wasn't friendly. He did his job well, but he was not friendly or warm.
You've been honest enough to share that with me, and I appreciated your honesty. I found him to be very good to me and very supportive. In fact, I told Archbishop Ronald Hicks, my successor, with whom I'm very, very pleased, I said, look, I hope I can be as supportive as you as Cardinal Egan was to me. So he was good to me, and you're right, he did his good job. There were a lot of tough decisions he made, which I didn't have to make. So, and I hope I've done that favor for Archbishop Hicks. Have you met him yet, the new guy?
No, but I don't want to say this on the air, but I'm saying it. I really don't have an interest in it. Thank you very much. I have an interest in the one and only Archbishop I ever knew well and loved. That's all I care about. I don't care about
it ain't over yet, sweetheart, okay?
I know, but it is. The new one is over for me as far as I'm concerned, so what the hell do I care? Tell me, what is happening with your fading religion today?
Well, Cindy, look, you should know better. You're on the front lines there. The news recently has been pretty good. They tell us that the attendance of young adults, we're talking about graduates from college up to 35, is up 8%. Now, we haven't had that kind of good news in a long time. They tell us that vocations to the priesthood is up a bit, not as much as we'd like. We understand that young people wanting to get married in the church is up a bit, not as much as we'd like, but good news. Now, pardon me for bringing this up, but our donations are doing pretty well, too. So there is good news. You are right. In recent memory, we've had tons of gloomy news about, oh, God, people are leaving, they're not Catholic anymore, they don't trust the church, on. And there is that, and we can't ignore that. I can't be a Pollyanna about that. That is there. But boy, oh boy, just as the bad news got me down of recent history, this little hint of some growth and some promise and some joy and some renewed confidence in the faith, and not just us, but religion in general, hallelujah, I'll take it.
Can you ever have real friends when you become as high as an archbishop? Everybody needs something. Everybody wants something. Everybody has a question or a need. What about real friends? Is it possible?
Well, you're on to something. It's a little more difficult. A wise bishop once told me, you got to be friendly with everybody, but your friends are few and far between. For instance, I love my priests. I hope I'm friendly with all of them. I can't be friends with as many as I'd like because, well, I'm their boss. I'm their shepherd. To tell you the truth, that's one of the things I look forward to in retirement. I'm no longer their boss. I'm still around, but I'm one of them now. I said to Archbishop Hicks, whom I love already, I said, I look forward to being one of your priests. However I can help, let me know. So I kind of think now I can begin to make some friends. You do get some friends. And you know the blessing, Cindy, you make a lot of friends with good meat and potato lay people. Our moms and dads, our grandparents, these folks. So over the weekend, you know that you sent me a gift. Thank you. I drank it already for my 76th birthday last week.
Pretty damn expensive, but I wouldn't mention it. Go ahead.
Well, it was worth it, honey. So listen, last week, my 76th birthday, that night I went out with 4 guys who have been my priest secretaries in the past. You know them. You remember Father Stephen. You knew Father James, Father Jim, and now Father Ryan. They took me out. I had to be close to them because we shared, my God, we shared dishwashers and washing machines. But then on Saturday night, I was with this great family with their kids and grandkids, and on Sunday, I was with a wonderful family. Had me in. I can relax. I can be myself. Yeah. I'm honored. They respect me. There's an obvious sense of reverence, but I can be myself. And I enjoy that. Good priests have good friends among our regular people, and they always have people in whom they can trust. Again, you always have to keep the professional boundaries. But boy, oh boy, we're blessed with a lot of them. I always, you and I have chatted about this in the past. Yeah, I always get my Irish up when people kind of say, "Oh, the priesthood must be a very lonely life." I said, "Are you nuts? I'd love to have a night by myself." I'm surrounded by people. I love people. I'm a phone call away with good friends. I'm hours away for a night out with good friends like yourself. This is a great life, and it's not lonely at all.
Okay. What are the duties now? What do you have to do or what do you not have to do? I don't know what a former archbishop does. I've never been one. So tell me what you do.
Yeah, and listen, thanks for asking that because everybody's asking me that. So let's get one thing straight. You don't retire. I don't retire from being a priest or a bishop or a cardinal. I retire, or I was retired, from an appointment, an assignment. I am no longer Archbishop of New York. I'm still a priest. I'm still a bishop. I'm still a cardinal. And darn it, I look forward to doing all that good stuff. I'm still going to be this. You and I are talking on Sunday. I had a wedding yesterday. I had a baptism and a mass with 1,000 people this morning. I'm on your show now. I was at a wake on Friday afternoon. I was at a funeral on Saturday morning. This is the stuff of priesthood, and this is the stuff, Cindy, I'll still be able to do. I won't have to go to meetings. I won't have to cut budgets. I won't have to make neuralgic decisions about merging parishes, moving priests, or closing schools, thanks be to God. I don't have to do the administrative stuff, but I'm still going to be kind of busy. And I'll tell you something, I don't have to do the stuff that I don't like. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm going to do the stuff I enjoy, which is why I'm talking to you now. And I'm going to keep doing that. And that's, so what do I got, Cindy? I got about 500 priests in this archdiocese. About 200 of them are retired. Now, that means they're retired as pastors of a parish. They're still priests. They still help. They're still hearing confessions. They're still doing Mass. They're still doing funerals. They want to do that. They're asked to do that, and they do it. They don't have to run a parish or a school or a hospital or a nursing home or a Catholic Charities ministry anymore. They can just they can concentrate on what we would call kind of the heart of the church, the spirit, the soul of the church. And boy, am I ever glad I'm in that position now.
I mean, you just seem so high that it's a shame you were Archbishop, because it was a real troublemaking job. But it sounds so great that you're glad to be out of it. Tell me, please, do you have special responsibilities as a former Archbishop?
No. I would only have responsibilities if my successor asked me to take them, and he has let me know that he intends to. And I said, be my guest. I'm your priest if I can help you in any way. So he's already graciously said, I'm invited to this. I can't go. Can you go? I'm supposed to go represent this meeting. Could you go? I said, sure, be happy to help. I also have some duties nationally. I'm still on some boards like the Catholic University of America, the Mission Board. I still have some duties in Rome because they didn't depend on me being Archbishop of New York. They depended more on being a cardinal. So I still have some duties there. And I'm getting tons of invitations to do stuff. I got some universities who have asked me to come for a semester and teach. I've got a lot of, just last Wednesday and Tuesday and Wednesday, I was in Toledo, Ohio, one of your favorite towns. And I to give an overnight little retreat to the priests of Toledo, Ohio. I love doing that, Cindy. And I had to say no to a lot of that because of the duties here in the Archdiocese. By the way, thanks for bringing up. You know me pretty well.
Yeah.
And I hope I never gave you the impression of being burdened. I love my work as Archbishop of New York, but I have to be honest that there's parts of it that, yes, were a tad draining, that could kind of be weighty, and I'm kind of glad to be liberated from those now.
At least you don't have to eat lousy food as you do at most of these events. I mean, I've been to these events with you, and you could die with the crappy food.
Oh, my God, no more rubber chicken. You know it? So, right. No, but then again, as you referenced a little while ago, part of being a cardinal is you never have to drink cheap booze. So this is good. And
listen, I'm going broke already. Leave me alone. Tell me.
I get deliveries from, I get bottles of whiskey from you and Wells Fargo trucks. They're that valuable.
Listen, and I'm not even Catholic. Can you imagine how much it would cost me if I was Catholic? Tell me about the Catholic schools. What's happening? Why are they closing?
Good stuff is happening. Why they're closing is beyond me. First of all, there's not as many kids as there used to be, okay? Secondly, the public schools, thank God, in a lot of areas are getting better. And a lot of parents chose to send their kids to our schools because they were head and shoulders better than any other. So we're kind of happy the public schools are getting better. We're kind of sad that their parents still aren't sending their kids here. You know why, Cindy? Education is becoming such a bureaucratic nightmare and so expensive that we just can't do it anymore. You know, the church used to have dozens and dozens of hospitals. We couldn't do that anymore. We still got some good ones and some great nursing homes and healthcare facilities, but we don't have a string of hospitals because it just got it was a bureaucratic nightmare. It was so expensive. You had labor problems, you had accrediting problems, and the same with our schools. They're just so darn complicated with more and more rules and more bureaucracies and more demands by the state that doesn't do a blooming thing to help us, that every once in a while we're saying we can't just do this. anymore. And a lot of the solid, strong Catholic. I mentioned to you when you asked me at the beginning about growing up. See, my neighborhood. I bet you my neighborhood was 40% Catholic. On my block, there were 10 houses. 6 of them were Catholic. So it was the Catholic schools flourished. Well, now those neighborhoods, you don't really have those old, intact, coherent, oftentimes ethnic Catholic neighborhoods, like you don't have Jewish neighborhoods, and so the schools suffer for that because now they're not as available or not as accessible as they used to be. But we are still darn proud of them. They do a tremendous job. People love them. The whole community supports them, especially in our inner cities, because as George Bush II told me, and Barack Obama told me as well, your Catholic schools in the poor areas are the best anti-poverty program we got. So we're keeping them, we're fighting for them, and they're going to be around.
You know, the trouble with you, Eminence, is you never have anything to say. That's the damn problem, talking to you. Boring. Never have a word to say. So,
coming from you, that's quite a compliment.
What about the movement to have women as priests?
Nope, forget about it. I think the Pope has spoken strongly in that. Cindy, what's clear today is that you don't have to be a priest to have a position of leadership and responsibility in the church. Some of our leading positions in the church, we wouldn't have our Catholic schools if it weren't for women. We wouldn't have our parishes if it weren't for women. I wouldn't have the archdiocesan offices if it weren't for women. We wouldn't have families if it weren't for women. We wouldn't have good journalism if it weren't for women. And so they're up there. Their power has been unleashed and respected. Can they be priests? No, that's pretty final. But they can still, and it's not about power in the church. It's about service. It's about leadership. It's about responsibility. And women got that. I hope more and more get it. And you don't need to be a priest for that.
So what does it mean to American Catholics for there someday to be an American Pope?
How about that? Are you proud? We're proud of him, aren't you? He was a surprise. You know, he's an American. He was born in Chicago. I hate to say that, but he was a proud Chicagoan. He spent most of his priesthood outside the United States. And to be honest with you, I don't think most of my brother cardinals, when we gathered to elect a new pope, I don't think most of my brother cardinals identified Robert Prevost as an American. They said, oh, this guy's been a missionary. He's been in Peru. He's been all over the world. He's been the last 12 years in Rome. He's kind of international. And I think that's why that old canard about somebody from the United States could never be elected pope, I think that's why that crumbled, because they just kind of didn't think of him as kind of a Yankee Doodle dandy. He's proud of being American. He's grateful for American citizenship, and he loves our country. He loves peanut butter. He loves the Chicago White Sox. He's proud of the country.
Chicago White Sox? What happened to the Yankees? What are you talking about? This is a dreadful thing you said.
You know, you got to make gnocchi with the dough you got. So he's a Chicagoan, right? So, yeah.
Dead people in Chicago vote. Do you know that?
So I hear.
Well, what is the matter with you? Dead vote. People. They always vote. I mean, this is not my favorite city. Okay. Would you advise a young kid growing up to go into the priesthood?
Yep. Do it all the time. Did you hear what happened? So a year ago, it was, a year ago after Easter, so about 10 months ago, in all 300 parishes in the Archdiocese, we had, it was Good Shepherd Sunday, which is the fourth Sunday after Easter when we have the Gospel of Jesus saying, I'm the Good Shepherd. So the Latin word for shepherd is pastor, which would be our priests. So in all 300 parishes, every priest spoke about why he was a priest and that he was happy. And then he asked his people, would you suggest, this is all anonymous, would you send me the name of any young man in this parish that you think would make a good priest? And we got well over 1,000 names of young men. And Cindy, I met them all. in the Sundays after that, I would invite chunks of them to my 10:15 Mass at St. Patrick's, and then they'd come over for Krispy Kreme donuts. They were flattered. They were flattered. They said, we kind of thought a little bit about the priesthood, but we thought, that I can't take that seriously. But when we heard that somebody in our parish thinks that I might be a good priest, hey, I better start thinking about this. So you bet I'd encourage them, and I'm looking for things to get a little brighter.
Okay. I've asked you about your growing up days, but people like me don't quite understand why somebody would want necessarily to be a priest. What is it that's inside you? Is it religion? Is it Catholicism? What is it? There has to be something.
You're right. And you used the right word, and you're saying inside of you. It can't be imposed from without. It's got to be kind of a sense, kind of a tug, sort of an enchantment, sort of flirting with the idea of being a priest. Now, I'll tell you, in my case, I can only speak for myself, although the stats, people who have studied this tell me that was kind of accurate. First of all, in that you have an experience of great priests who are happy. And I had that in my parish. So I'm looking now, I'm talking to you, I'm sitting in my living room, and in front of me are the photographs of 3 of the priests, all of them gone to the Lord, who were in my parish when I was a kid. And there were more. I love them. The parish loved them. We beamed when they'd visit us. We beamed when they would take us to a ball game. Secondly, growing up in a Catholic school, and since fewer and fewer are doing that, as you and I just chatted about, that may be one of the reasons for a vocation shortage to the priesthood. Growing up in a Catholic school, I was surrounded by teachers, many of whom were women, religious sisters, nuns, N-U-N-S, who were happy, magnificent women, great teachers, educated, free, intelligent women who encouraged us to think about the priesthood. And thirdly, I grew up in a neighborhood where I can remember the barber saying to me, Cindy, when I was in 8th grade, "Hey, kid, what are you going to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I think I might want to be a priest." And the barber says, "Way to go, kid. I hope it works out." Now, this guy was a dyed-in-the-wool Baptist, but he was happy that I was thinking about being a minister, a priest. Those are 3 things. Those are 3 things that I think give a guy a tug for the priesthood. But most of all, you hit on it. You didn't know it. You didn't know you were a theologian here. When you do feel kind of a little hunch or something from within, because deep down, the priesthood is not something I choose. It's something I believe the Lord is choosing and asking me. And so you've got to sense that through prayer. You got to sense that through a lot of thought and discernment. You got to sense that with the encouragement and counsel of other people. And all that gels into a great cocktail, a great Manhattan that just said, "Dolan, I think the Lord might be calling you to be a priest." And am I ever glad I said, okay.
Okay, so the Lord didn't call me, so therefore I'm going to ask you straight out. As a cardinal, did you ever screw up?
Yes. You mean, have I ever screwed up in my life, or have I ever screwed up as a cardinal?
I don't care. I'm flexible. Tell me anything. What
you
do
got
I care?
a lot of latitude when it comes to screwing up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go.
So, no, I look back on a lot of mistakes in life. And you know what I sense now that I'm 76? I'm sensing I have more regrets about things I should have done and didn't than regrets about things I did and shouldn't have. Does that make sense?
No.
So
tell me.
I do. Yeah, let me tell you. I'll have regrets about, I should have gone to that funeral. I should have visited that. I heard about this person sick. I put it off, and 2 days later, I heard she died. I should have listened more to the advice that I got. I may not have made that decision. So things that we call them, fancy term here, sins of omission, things we should have done and did not. Now, maybe I'm a lucky guy that I got a lot more regrets about sins of commission than I have about sins of omission. But I do, like right now, I just mentioned to you about my mom. It'll be 4 years she's gone, coming up in a month. And I'm thinking, Tim, you could have visited her more. Darn it. Here I was in New York. I called her every day. I never let 3 months pass that I didn't go home to see her. But and then at the end, Cindy, she said, "I don't think I can travel anymore." And I agreed with her because she really shouldn't. And now I regret that. I should have said, Mom, you can't travel by yourself anymore. I'll come home and you come back with me.
I thought you were wonderful about your mother. You were always there for her. You were always going there to see her. I remember we would break dinner appointments because you were going to see your mother. I think that was terrific.
You perked me up, Cindy. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, listen, I mean, this is a dumbass question, pardon the expression. Any girl ever have a crush on you for Valentine's Day?
Well, I sure had crushes on girls, and I have some now that it's too late. I've had some tell me they had it on me. So I just they sent me from a Holy Infant School a picture of the 8th grade graduation, and I'm looking at all those pretty girls, and I said, boy, I used to have a crush on her. Boy, I used to want to walk home with her. So, yes, I did. And I love that. And I was friends with some. I did my share of dating. Once I kind of went into the college seminary, I thought, I better get serious, Tim. You always need good friends who are women. But I probably should not date exclusively because that's a bit of a preparation for marriage. And now I've chosen the priesthood, or Jesus has chosen me. So I don't regret that at all. And I look for that. There you go again. I just got an invitation from some of the old crowd back home who wants me to come home this summer and all get together. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. I mean, I would love to talk to you for the next 3 weeks, but I'm afraid that they're going to throw me off or throw you off. But won't we be seeing each other soon? I hope. You bet we will, sweetheart. You know how much I love you and appreciate you and enjoy your company. And I have told you this before. I feel at peace with you. We talk. We can speak in confidence. You've never let me down. So thank you for that friendship. Let you down? You got to be kidding. I know exactly what you have said. I know exactly what I wouldn't say. I know exactly. I have loved you. I am not Catholic. I love you. I love you, Cardinal Dolan.
Well, I love you, sweetheart, and I love it that you always pick up the tab. Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
See you. Bye. See you soon, I hope.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.